What's going on YouTube? This is SB3 and today's video is going to be a little bit different. I've been hearing a lot of chatter on social media on the Supercross pages about Peacock TV and it sucks and it's terrible and it's all this crap. And I wanted to chime in and give my 2 cents on it, both positive and negative, and really just give kind of perspective to my experience watching Supercross over the last, a decade, 12 years, something like that. So um, I just wanted to chime in really quick and just give my background on it. So I've been a fan of Supercross. I'm 28 years old now, so I've been a fan of Supercross and motocross since I was probably about 8 years old. But I really started getting invested into it when really about 2010. Whenever it was on, I think Speed Network, 2009, 2010-ish, right before Dungey won his first Supercross title in in the 450s. So I was there whenever it was on Speed TV initially, and I think 2010. I was 16, and it was really I didn't pay much attention to it. I was living at home, and my dad, he paid the cable bill, and I was he asked me every year if I wanted to keep it, and I said yes because I didn't really know, but it was it, it, coming from it later, it was an expensive monthly package that my father had to pay for because it was a sports package. And I mean, whenever you look at a sports package with cable, especially, it's usually pretty expensive after the first year, 2 years, whatever it is. And I think my dad mentioned one time that it was roughly about $60 or $70 a month extra. And I mean, obviously, with that, you got extra channels and different things like that. But he only used it for speed, and then what was FS1 and FS2 or FS1 specifically because I wanted to watch it, and that's expensive. I mean, $60 a month is a lot. And then moving into speed, or from that to Fox Sports One, I moved out on my own, and then I got Fox Sports One on. It ended up being PlayStation View, and the base package that I paid for initially without Fox Sports One was like $45. Not bad. And going to add it because PlayStation View had different tiers that you could go for, and I think it was like an extra $30 or $40 a month to get me into that package that had Fox Sports One and Fox Sports Two. And if you didn't have Fox Sports Two, you missed out on some key races because they would do the first half of the show on Fox Sports One, or the first hour or whatever it was, because something more important was coming on, more important. And then they would switch over to FS2, and if you didn't have FS2, you were up a creek because you couldn't watch it. And it was, to me, it was dumb because you were paying for Fox Sports 1, and then Fox Sports 2 played even less, and then you had to put that on its own separate subscription. And like I said, I think it was like 30 or 40, I want to say $30 more a month for PlayStation View with that specific, whatever that top tier package was. It was like 70 or $80 a month. And then they moved over to NBC Sports Gold. And this is where I think it got better. I mean, I was okay with paying for it, but it was expensive. And, I bit the bullet because I'm a Supercross fan. Once it went to NBC Sports Gold, it was like $90 a month. Not $90 a year. And initially, it was just motocross. And I think it was actually initially, with just motocross, it was like $50, I think. And whenever it brought in Supercross, you had access to the archive from previous years that NBC Sports Gold had it. So by the end of motocross, you had back to, I think, the 2016 or 2017 season, and I mean, to me, what ended up being for both Supercross and motocross, it ended up being $90 a year, which including Monster Energy Cup. So you have a month in there, which kind of throws it off. But I just counted. I did $90 divided by however many months, and it ended up being like $11 a month. Not bad. And then with this move to Peacock, specifically with Peacock Premium, because you have to have that bare minimum to access the Supercross rounds, and it's $5 a month, $4.99. And to me, as a fan, it's not perfect, but it's a lot better than what it was 5 years ago, 4 years ago, even, I mean, hell, even last year, because a lot of people couldn't justify spending $90 a month I'm on that month. $90 a year because it was $90 just like that. There was no monthly option. You paid $90 for the year, and you got access to Supercross with the second qualifiers, and then you got access to motocross, the full series, including the second qualifiers. And then whenever they had the Monster Energy Cup, they had the Monster Energy Cup that you could watch. I don't know if the qualifiers were on that. I never watched it. I always watched like the main show for the Monster Energy Cup. So having that is, to me, it's a step in the right direction. Is it perfect? No, because they've got their streaming problems, and I've had every round I've had some type of streaming problem where I shouldn't. I mentioned this in a previous video, but I have the gigabit internet, and theoretically with gigabit internet, I should have no streaming problems. And it's not like I've got my main TV on that's right here, and then I've got that TV on back there, and then I've got my computers on, and I'm on my tablet and my laptop and all this other crap. I literally have everything else off, and I just have the main TV on, and I'm watching Supercross, and the quality drops, and then it happened several times where it would start buffering for no, like, it would just be fine, and then it would start buffering, and then I would back out of the application, not entirely, just out of the Supercross video stream, and then I would go back into it, and it was fine. So I mean, they've definitely got some issues with I don't want to say quality control, but they've got some things that they need to work out in order for it to be better, and it sucks, but I think Peacock, if they can work out some of those streaming quality issues, I think it's going to be a great platform for the sport. Ideally, where I would like to see this go, especially if they extend any kind of a contract where it's through 2025 or something, I don't know. But if they extend it to where they're going to be using Peacock for the next 5, 6, 7, however many years, they need to find a way to implement archived races. And I don't know if there's legal issues. I don't know the legality behind it if they can obtain older races from like Fox Sports 1 or Speed or CBS or wherever it was at before that. Because personally, I would like to see where it's 2020 Supercross whenever you search Supercross, I would like to see it just be AMA Supercross. And then you click into it, and then it goes from there. It says 2021 season, 2020 season, 2019, so on and so forth, however far back that they can go. Now, what I would personally like to see is have whatever the newest season is, so specifically this year would be the 2021 season, have that be separate while it's live. Have that be on the main page, wherever it's going to go, whenever it's going to be live. But as soon as that is done recording, click it into the AMA Supercross, like the main page, so that somebody that can't watch the race live can go through and watch it. And to me, having access to previous rounds, especially like going back to 2015, 2010, 2005, wherever it's going to be at, that's going to help keep me engaged in this app, because all I use Peacock for is Supercross and what will be motocross whenever the season starts. After that, I'm canceling it, and I will not pick it back up unless there's a reason to, or worst case scenario, whenever January comes around. And I think for them to be successful, and I think for Peacock to really, really work, they need to implement something where we can view archived races, whether it's in full, whether it's like a bar to bar. I really, really would hope that it's the bar to bar, or not the bar to bar. I would really, really hope that it's like the full main event stream. I would like to keep the qualifiers, but I think going into keeping everything kind of clean and everything like that, you want to keep just 17 rounds and just keep it round 1, Anaheim 1, round 2, round 3, all the way to round 17, and just have it be the main show. And that's where I think Peacock needs to go in order for this to be successful, and in order for it to make sense for, like, me. I'm going to subscribe to it, and I'm a Supercross fan, so I'm personally going to subscribe to it regardless of where it's at, because I want to support my sport. I've been a fan of Supercross for my entire life. And I want to see the sport grow, and you have to. It sucks because we can't just turn it on ABC or CBS or ESPN and watch Supercross like you can with some of the bigger sports. But you got to make do with what you've got, unfortunately. And Peacock's not a perfect solution by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a hell of a lot better than what it was whenever it was on Fox Sports 1 and 2 and Speed, and where, like, myself personally, I didn't. I'll be honest. I didn't do that much research into where it was at beforehand, so I just didn't watch it. I thought it was cool. I really liked it. If it was on whenever I was at home, I watched it. I stopped whatever I was doing and I would watch it. But I couldn't really. I didn't know where to look. And I mean, I was younger, so I mean, I would get on the computer, but I didn't know what to look for. So I think moving forward, Peacock is it's got the potential to be a great platform. They just need to make sure that they're implementing different things so that it keeps people around for the full year rather than January to May or January to August or whenever Supercross is going to end. They're going to cancel it for the rest of August, and then going into September they're not going to have it. And then if Monster Energy Cup comes back in October, then they subscribe for 1 month to watch that race, and then they cancel it. But that's just my thoughts on it. I really think that Peacock could be a good avenue for a lot of Supercross fans. One, it's become immensely cheaper than what it used to be. I mean, I think I said at the beginning of the video, my dad was paying like $60 extra a month, and then it goes to NBCS or to PlayStation View with which is what I had with it, and it was $30 extra a month. So right there, it's getting cheaper, and then you go to where I had it on NBC Sports Gold, paid for the year subscription, and it was $90 for the year. So I mean, if I broke down the racing months, it ended up being like $11 a month, and now it's down to $4.99. So it's getting cheaper. And I see a lot of people saying, well, we shouldn't have to pay for this. And the sport's just, it's not as big as some of the other sports. And while I think it deserves to be ahead of a lot of these other sports, it's just not at this point in time. And from NBC's point of view, they have to make a logical business decision that's going to make sense for them in the long run. And until Supercross really gains and starts showing that it's got the potential to be there, then Peacock's probably is going to be about as good as it's going to get for a little bit. And $5 a month is a lot more feasible to a lot more people than the $90 for the year, because $90 just to a lot of people, it's a lot of money. And I mean, especially in a market like in an area where maybe whenever I was living on my own for the first, I wasn't making a whole heck of a lot of money, and it was very, very hard for me to get $90 just like that because I was paying bills and stuff like that. So $5 a month is a heck of a lot more feasible to a lot more people. So it's helping expand the sport in a way that hasn't been able to be done before. And we're seeing more live content than we've ever seen before. Granted, with it being on NBCSN, the bigger sports do take precedence, or whatever was on there before, the Olympics or whatever might be on there. It does take precedence over Supercross right now. And it sucks, but that's just the way it is. So to me, if you're gonna be a fan of the sport, you either have to be okay with it being delayed and staying off the social media or doing whatever it is until you can watch the race, or B, buck up and get the $5 extra a month. It's not ideal, but it's a hell of a lot better than paying $90 for the year. And that's just my thoughts on it. I get where people are coming from, saying that we shouldn't have to pay for it, but that's not the world we're in right now. So let me know down in the comments, what do you want to see from Peacock if they're going to take over as the main, I don't want to say sponsor, but the main place to view Supercross. Do you want to see them do archived races for previous seasons going back to however far they can go? What do you want to see improvements with Peacock? Obviously, the price is probably going to be a big thing for a lot of people because you have to pay for it. But, what interface things do you want to see? What thing do you want to see? Native 4K? What do you want to see from Peacock moving forward, so that way you can enjoy Supercross in a way that maybe you couldn't before? I think I saw a comment on one of them saying that Peacock doesn't really work on Samsung TVs. So, it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, like I said. So, what improvements do you want to see from Peacock? What do you want to see Supercross do? How do you want to see Supercross evolve over the next 5 or 10 years? Let me know down in the comments. And also, last thing, I'm going to say this ahead of time. This is not a sponsored video of any kind, but I do want to throw a shout out to Ryan Dungey. If you are a coffee drinker, I would recommend his coffee. He's if you follow the sport for any number of years, you'll know the name Ryan Dungey. He's a previous Supercross and motocross champion, and he started his own coffee company back in 2020. So I'm a coffee drinker myself, and I really like. I tried his. I think it was Accelerate was the first one that he came out with, and it was good. And I never had experience with whole bean coffee, but to me, it's been a pretty positive experience. And I just got his new flavor to me. It's going to be Always, and it's in the same mention where the S is going to be like his number 5. I think it was in a Fox documentary that they did on YouTube. So Always, I'm excited to try that. I'm going to have my first cup of it tonight with the race in Indy. So if you're a coffee drinker and you want to support somebody in the moto industry, definitely give Ryan Dungey a shout. Go to his website and give it a go. See how you like it, and let me know in the comments if you've tried Ryan Dungey's coffee before. What's your favorite flavor, or what's your favorite type of coffee that you've had from him so far? But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.